can show your video, we would love, love, love to see your faces. So hi, Frank. Hi, Alyssa. Alyssa and somebody else, welcome. Everybody's muted out. You can actually click unmute if you want to say hello. There's Trisha.
Hi, Alyssa and Barry.
Alyssa and Barry, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you guys are here.
Thanks for having us.
I want to say hi to all of you from CCC. I'm so glad to see you on here.
Yes, Mom, you win the prize for inviting people to the webinar. So yeah, let's test out the chat button. If you guys could find the little chat box and enter in your chat what you do, and if you heard about this event from my mom, Marge. So we know who all's here. Like, are you a teacher, an instructor, a coach, a trainer, a therapist, whatever, all kinds of stuff. So there's Jeannie, there's Michelle. I see some of our team members here. I'm going to tell you guys who all we are. I know you probably got the invitation from my mom, and she said, my daughter's going to be teaching something. You guys should get on. And you probably don't know anything else about who we are or what we're doing. So we will share that with you. Hey, Diane. Welcome. Glad you're here. Diane's right here in Carolina Beach. So welcome. Let's see who we have. We have, let's see, administrative assistant at CCC, and that is Carteret Community College in Morehead City, where my mom teaches, for those of you that don't know. Photographer, artist, and coach. Barry is a lawyer. Awesome. CCC respiratory therapist is Trisha. Welcome. Shayna is, I'm the lead instructor for hospitality at, I'm getting so many, it jumped. At CCC, I heard from Marge, yay. Well, we have Bina, I hope I'm saying that right, CCC career coach. Yes, okay, welcome. And Deborah, sales manager at a wine distributor in Idaho. Wow, awesome.
Hi, Deborah.
Great. And then we have Susan in chair of public services tech. Excellent. We have Elizabeth, aquaculture department. And then we have Cheryl. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm an instructor at CCC. And I did hear about this opportunity from your mom. Good job, mother. And then Sally, she's Barbara and Alfred's assistant, and she's an adult discipleship director at her church. So she's here for church. There's Demetrius. Wave, Demetrius. He is across the street here in Carolina Beach. And Jeannie is actually downstairs. Wave, Jeannie. Say hello. Jeannie's downstairs right here. So with the three of us are in Carolina Beach. Barbara is about 2 hours from us, Barbara and Sally.
Hello there.
And you guys are all over. So what you're doing right now, if you're just joining in, just post a message to me in the chat, letting us know, or to everyone, who you are and where you are. Global Technical Support, Verizon Wireless. That's Diane. She's here local. So fantastic. And then we've got some of our certified productive environment specialists on, which I'll tell you guys what that is in just a sec. So it looks like we are a few minutes after the hour. I think almost everybody here, nope, I was gonna say almost everybody's here is on Eastern time, but that's not true. Marianne says I'm with Carteret Community College in Morehead City. Yep, awesome. Okay, well, gosh, this is gonna be fun. So as I was preparing for this event, this training, I was getting all kinds of questions from clients, from different people that are trying to all of a sudden have to, the word that it keeps coming up is the word pivot. How many of you have heard the word pivot over the last couple of days? We're having to pivot and do some things a little bit differently. So I am going to try to keep this as simple as possible. I'm going to provide you with lots of resources that you can look at afterwards that go into more of the technical aspect of what we're going to do today. But I just want to show you what's possible for those of you that are needing to go online or go virtual and present your content and teach. Some people I've talked to have never done this before ever, and this is the first time, and they're wanting to know how to start. So if that may be some of you. Yeah, okay, good, Tricia. So I will be as clear and simple as possible. I'm not going to give you a ton of different resources. I'm going to give you two very specific ones that are two things that I think are really important. They're easy and they're free. So those are the two. I could give you millions more, But I am going to contain my excitement about all of the bright, shiny objects and tools we have available to us, and you're gonna learn about too. And you may know about them, but we're gonna dive in just a second. So Sharon is calling in from Sherman, Connecticut. Hi, Sharon. And Frank is in the nonprofit sector strategies. So excellent. Welcome, Frank. All right. So if you're just joining in, go ahead and pop in a message to us. Tell us what you do and where you are. Also, for those of you that just joined in, if you can, there should be a little button at the bottom of your Zoom screen that says Start Video. Go ahead and hit that button and let us see you. You don't have to. It's not required, but it's just easier to talk to faces than it is to names. So. All right, so lots more people joining in. My goodness, we have a full house. Looks like we have about 31 people on here right now. And I am recording, and I will make the replay available. So you guys will all get access to the replay. So, all right, and I think everybody is muted out. And I do want you, as we get into things, I want you to feel comfortable raising your hand or sending over a message in the chat. Or if I'm saying something and you can't get my attention, just unmute and say, Andrea, I have a question. So this is very informal. I literally put some very simple slides together for you. All right, Steve says he's not able to hear. If you guys can't, well, you won't hear my message. So let's see, Jeannie, if you could help Stephen. There's a little button on the left where it says audio. I think maybe it's his audio that he needs to enable. You can either call in on your phone or you can use the computer audio, and you probably want to use the computer audio. Okay. All right, Jane, I got your message. There we go. Okay, so she is a communication change agent based in New York. Oh, Jane, you should meet Stephanie Shalatsky. Wave, Stephanie. Stephanie's in New York, and she is one of our certified productive environment specialists, which I'll tell you guys what that is in a sec. All right, so let me pull up some slides, and included in these slides are going to be a place where Barbara and I are going to introduce who we are and how we got here, who we are besides me being just Marge's daughter, which is awesome, but there's more. So hang on one second and let me get to my slides. And I just did these very simply in Google Slides. And if you haven't ever used Google Slides, they're really easy to use. So you guys should all see this. Okay. Oh, so Stephanie told Jane about this. So she knows Stephanie. Okay, perfect. All right. So basically, we're going to talk today about how to go virtual and host online events, strategies for meeting, teaching, and staying in touch virtually. And you can see my little slides on the left, and I don't care. I'm not gonna, this isn't like a formal presentation where you can't see what's coming up. I'm fine with you guys seeing that. I'm trying to keep it really simple. So let's talk about the word pivot. We all are needing to, everybody that's on here is needing to somehow pivot their business or their education. You guys, a lot of you are teachers. So that's really what we're doing here. So real quick, some housekeeping. Just turn off your ringers and notifications on your phone. You're muted, but still just so you can kind of focus a little bit too. Stay muted if you're in a noisy environment, but do feel free to unmute your microphone and come on and ask a question if you want to. Start your video so we can see you, and if you can. And then if you are on video and you need to go do something that doesn't need to be on video, then make sure you hit stop video. And I'm going to show you why in a minute. A really important reason.
Oh my gosh, is it that bathroom one?
Yes.
Oh my word, it's awful.
I feel so bad for that girl, and I almost didn't show it, but I was like, I want everybody to see what could possibly happen. Well, I'll leave it alone. But yes, Anne, it is that one. So let's talk first. Barbara Hemphill and I are here, and Barbara Hemphill is the founder of Productive Environment Institute. So Barbara, if you want to come off mute, you can just click unmute.
Hello there. Hello there, everybody. And I just want to say a big shout out to Andrea. Those of you who've been around us at all know we call each other peanut butter and jelly. And there's a reason for that. We have very contrasting skills, and she's the tech person. So if it weren't for her, this wouldn't happen. So thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Barbara. And just real quick, the website that's at the bottom of your screen is productiveenvironment.com. We help business owners increase their productivity. without procrastination and overwhelm. That's kind of our big picture thing of who we are. And you guys can come check out this page after our event, so you can kind of learn a little bit more. Here's a video with Barbara. And if you want to get on our list and see the other content and helpful information we have, you can fill out our productive environment scorecard here, and you can just check out who we are here. So I won't go into a whole long introduction, but there's also a little thing at the top that says about us. So you can click that link and learn more about who Barbara is. In fact, let me just scroll for a second just so you guys can see who you're on here with. So Barbara has worked with hundreds of companies through the years. Probably thousands by now, Barbara. Should I update that to thousands?
I don't know.
We have a team of certified productive environment specialists. So if you hear me say that, or I might say CPESs, that's who they are. They are all independent business owners around the world, and they help people, professionals, business owners, anybody that needs organizational systems, mostly with paper. I mean, yes, we deal with, there's some that work with residential, but mostly with paper and systems. And Barbara is an author, and back in the 90s, I believe, right, Barbara, you wrote your Taming the Paper Tiger.
Actually, Taming the Paper Tiger first came out in 1988.
Oh, that's right. The year I graduated high school.
We're just, Judy Girton, who is one of our consultants, she's just finished writing Taming the Gmail Tiger, and we're working on Taming the Digital Tiger, because all the principles with paper apply to digital as well. So.
That's right. So good stuff. And Barbara's most recent book, until that one comes out, is Less Clutter, More Life, A Life's Teaching. So you can check that out here as well. You can learn a little bit more about us here. Barbara is back in the 90s on all these TV stations. There's with Matt Lauer on the Today Show. And Barbara lives in Raleigh, if we didn't say that. And then here I am, and I'm here in Carolina Beach, about 2 hours from most of you that are on here from Morehead City. So you know where I am. And this is where I live in Carolina Beach. And here, this is actually Productive Environment Center. And here's Buddy and Charlie. They are our PEI dogs. Okay, so that's who we are. Let me come back over to my slides. And this is one of my favorite slides. I saw this picture on Facebook and just fell in love with it. Some of you have seen this. But if you're not familiar with Zoom, which is what you're on now, there are versions, some of you that aren't showing your cameras or showing your faces, you're in audio only. So you're just hearing us and listening to us. So you don't have to fix up, you don't have to put on any makeup or get dressed or anything. But then there's Zoom meetings with video. And so that's where you want to just realize that people are going to see you. So that's the real quick basics of the difference between an audio only meeting and a Zoom video meeting. So do me a favor and tell me, I want to know if you've ever used Zoom before. So just yes or no in the comments or in the chat. Okay, of course Kathy Music has. Todd Allen is a professional organizer and Evernote certified consultant. Welcome, Todd. Okay, I'm getting yes, yes, yes. I'm getting a no. Okay, not as a host. Okay, no. Okay, good. All right. So many of you have been on as attendees, like now, and now all of a sudden you are being called to figure out how to be a host. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, and Susan has used it for recording video. That's the other thing about Zoom is you can do meetings like this, but you can also, you may not know this, you can also just do it by yourself just to record a video. So if you don't have other recording software like Camtasia or other things like that, you can have your own Zoom meeting, just you, and record a video. It's really simple to do. So, okay, so Alyssa says she uses Zoom all the time. She just upgraded to the Biz plan. Okay, excellent. So let me just show you a really short video about what not to do in a Zoom meeting for those of you that haven't seen this. So let me stop share for a second so I can make sure you can hear the audio of this. Stop share and give me 1 second to click and open the video. Okay, so actually I want to make this bigger, so hang on a second. You guys can see it.
One of the only.
Oops. Okay. So now I'm putting it in theater mode. Let me go back to share. But I'm telling you guys what I'm doing because you might have to do this. So I'm going to click share again, And this time you can't see it, but on the bottom of the screen, there's a little button that says share computer sound. So I want you guys to hear the video. So I'm going to check that box that says share computer sound. And now I'm going to share the video so you guys can hear it. So just pay attention. It's less than a minute. And I feel really bad for this person that I'm sharing this video, but it's already has over 1 million views, and it's really a good teaching moment. So I thought about putting this at the end, and I was like, no, you guys need to know this at the beginning so you don't do this. Okay, here it goes. I'm going to share, and now I'm going to, here's the video.
Professions that say that we can never get involved with a former client.
Watch the girl on the left over here. So this girl here in the middle is speaking, and this girl over on the left forgets that she's on camera. Okay.
Ever, regardless of how long it's been, versus like some other professions say a few years or whatever. I think it really depends on just like the ethical standards of the profession. And in reality, I've heard that social work kind of has very high standards and like good standards in terms of things, and that oftentimes people of other professions don't have.
Hold on.
What happened?
I saw nothing.
Oh my God.
Poor Jennifer.
I gotta
What happened?
Nothing. Keep going.
Profession.
Okay. So that is the end. Yeah. So let me stop.
Unbelievable.
Let me stop share. Yeah, you saw that, right? Okay. So she forgot she was on camera. She had her phone, and oh my gosh, I've done this. I haven't done that, but if you're on a Zoom meeting and you're on your phone, you're only seeing the speaker. So she wasn't seeing herself. She was only seeing the speaker, and she had to go to the bathroom. So she took the phone in the bathroom with her, and she thought she was just listening and hearing, but she was still on camera. And I have to say, I have to give kudos to the girl at the end who says, nothing, just keep going. Because when the speaker didn't see what was going on, the speaker was only seeing herself. So the other girl that said, just keep going. So if things do happen on a Zoom meeting and things get, crazy or something, a dog barks or your kid comes in or something like that, it's okay. Just keep going. Don't panic. Just stay calm and keep going. So anyway, I just want to share that. So just do be careful if you are on your phone and you have to go to the bathroom. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let me get back to my slides and let me share my screen again. There's a lot of moving around when you are the host. There you have to kind of move things around on your screen a little bit because the Zoom thing kind of covers things up. So that's why. All right. So there we go. All right, we're back to the slides now. Now, I just want to give you, let's see, here we are. That was the video. All right, so we're going to talk about the basics. And like I said, I have so many things I could share with you guys about what our favorite tools are for, doing videos or trainings and things like that. But we're only going to talk about 2 things, live virtual meetings, and we're going to talk about LMS, Learning Management System. Because once you do these meetings, like we're doing right now, you are going to want to probably have a recording of it. And so you are going to want to put that recording up for your students probably. So we're going to talk about where to host those replays and where you can also post additional content. And I literally, like I said, have narrowed it down to the very simplest of tools. And one is the Zoom platform for the live virtual meetings. And then the LMS that we're going to talk about today, which some of you may be familiar with, is Google Classroom. It is the easiest, and it's super easy, and it's free. So it's a great place to start. And I'm going to actually walk you through how to set that up. We're actually going to set up the Google Classroom, and then you guys will all be students in it, because when this is all over, I will invite you in so that you can access this video as well as other resources that I'm going to put in there for you. So post a comment for me and let me know in the chat if you've ever used Google Classroom or not. We actually have used lots of other different platforms like Teachable, Okay, good. I'm getting lots of no's. Excellent. Good. We've used Teachable. We used something called Mighty Networks. We've used a lot of other platforms that have a lot of bells and whistles. But to be able to launch very quickly, Google Classroom is really easy to do. And all of you, every single person on this call today, in less than an hour, could have you could be online and have a training program that you can invite students into. So, okay, good. All right, Mom says no, but the Carteret Public Schools are using it. So yeah, and I'm hearing from some of my teacher friends that they've been told they have to learn how to use Google Classroom pretty quick. So I'm just gonna walk through the basics of that. But before we do that, we're gonna go back to Zoom. And again, you guys are all participants right now. And for this part, I was gonna take you through the setup and how to do it all. But I have a trainer. There's one of my favorite trainers on YouTube is his name is Steve Dotto Tech. Has anybody ever heard of him? Dotto Tech. Okay, I'm actually gonna. He just today uploaded a training that I'm gonna just play in here as a video for everybody because he does a much better job of explaining it than I would. And then we're gonna discuss it at the end. And especially it was a godsend that I watched this video this morning because he specifically talks to you guys that are teachers, and there was something really new that came out that I did not know about. The beauty of Zoom is that you can have a free account for up to 40 minutes, but apparently because of the coronavirus and the lockdown, they are actually giving teachers, and I don't know if you have to prove you're a teacher or how that all works, but now they're making it accessible where there's no limit, that it doesn't have to be 40 minutes because of the situation that we're in right now. So I'm going to stop this share. Does anybody have any questions before I start his video? Is everybody hearing everything okay and engaged? Okay. His video is about 20 minutes. And he's a really good instructor, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. He actually demonstrates the host side of things, which is really what I want you guys to see. And he uses his wife as the example. So I'm gonna come back now and share my screen. And I'm gonna make sure that share computer sound button is clicked. You guys will hear my voice when you do this yourself. And so you guys should see. All right, so let me go ahead and hit play.
I record today's video. We are at the start of the lockdown period here in Canada for the coronavirus. We've been sitting at home now for a few days. I don't know when you actually watch this video what the situation in the world will be, but I know that it is going to be very different than what it was, say, just last week. But here in the Dotto household, my wife is a teacher. And it was the start of spring break as we started to shut down for the coronavirus. And Shannon came up to me and said, hey, Steve, it looks like Zoom is starting to offer free upgraded service for teachers so that they can continue to educate their students even if we aren't in the classroom. And she said, would you mind showing me a little bit about how to use Zoom? She hasn't used it. I thought, that's a great idea, Shan, but how about if we do a video on how to use Zoom so not just you, but other teachers, and in fact, other people who want to use Zoom for video conferencing can learn at the same time. So that is our goal today. Now, having said that, Zoom is indeed offering upgraded service. Zoom, normally in their free service, has a 40-minute time limit on video conferences where you have more than 3 people on the conference. And then if you pay for the service, you get much upgraded service. You can have 100 people on for as long as you want with the paid service. But Zoom is lifting that limitation for many jurisdictions. Now, ironically, they haven't lifted it as of yet. As of my moment of recording this video, it hasn't been lifted for Canada. But looks like pretty much everywhere else in the world, Austria, Denmark, France, Ireland, Poland, Romania, South Korea, Japan, United States, they've all been lifted, as well as Greece, Norway, Portugal, Switzerland, Belgium, the Czech Republic. Canada's still not on the list. I don't know what we did to Zoom, but maybe they'll pay attention and they'll make sure they lift it for Canadian teachers as well. Today on Dotto Tech, we're going to be taking a look at Zoom, a great video conferencing tool, how to configure it and how to use it. Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? And as promised, today we're going to be taking a look at Zoom. Now, chances are you've been involved in a video conference at some point in the past. Perhaps it's in Skype, perhaps it was a Google Hangout, you were probably in a Zoom or a GoToMeeting meeting, but most of us have participated in conferences from an attendee point of view, where you simply click on a link, you're brought into a room, you watch, maybe you're able to interact a little bit with chat, but you basically aren't driving the bus. You're a passenger enjoying or learning from the content that's being shared. What I'm going to walk you through today is the process of setting up a video conference for a larger group of people, say a classroom situation where you're going to have 30 people in the room, and then the tools that you have to administer and to deliver the content for that video conference. We are using Zoom as a platform for it. So once you sign up for Zoom and log into your account, you're brought into a window that looks something like this. It might be a little bit different depending on what you've configured and what you haven't. I use Zoom on a regular basis for supporting my business, so you can see I actually have some planned meetings that are up and coming that I've already scheduled. But I'm going to walk you through the process and the different tools that we have in place. So when you're ready to book a meeting, to plan a meeting, you go into this Zoom conference and you click on Schedule a Meeting. That's the first step that we do. We'll talk through the hardware and technical setup in a few moments, but let's talk about the meeting itself as you schedule a meeting. This brings you into a web interface where you set a topic for the meeting, a title for the meeting. It's going to be Meeting Number 1. And you can offer description. You can schedule a date and a time. Now, it's going to be based on your local time zone, but when people look at the registration information for that meeting, it will convert it to their local time zone, and if it's being added to their calendar, it'll be converted to their calendar. So there's a lot of automation in the background that will help you with this part of the process. So you select a date and a time for the meeting, and so let's just put this for a week from today at, say, 3 p.m. The duration of the meeting, and if it's a recurring meeting. So if you're a teacher, for example, and you've decided that while we're on this lockdown period, not in class, we're going to meet every morning at 10 a.m. for an hour with the class in a Zoom meeting, you could then set this up as a recurring meeting, and then you can schedule how often you recur, how often the recurrences happen, etc. Now, the benefit of doing this is there's just going to be a single URL, a single login click that your students are going to have, so you don't have to send them a new link every day for them to log into a new meeting. The recurring meeting will use the same login over and over again, so there's a massive amount of convenience to that. That's an important step in dealing with it in this sort of an environment where we might have recurring meetings as opposed to one-off meetings. So you've got that ability to set right here. You can choose whether or not you want to have people register, and if you insist on registration, you can ask them to register once and they can gain all of the occurrences or buy the occurrence. So that's, again, a choice that you have. And the registration link, once you share the registration link, they'll be brought to a page which will then ask for their name and email address, and when they enter their name and email address, effectively registering, they will be then emailed a link or be sent directly to a page that has the link to log in to the conference at that point. So again, the automatic process within Zoom takes care of all of those different aspects for you. You can also set it up to be password protected if you choose, something that I've never used, so I'm not going to speak much to it. Now you're going to choose what happens with the type of guests or the type of participants in the meeting. A regular participant has their video turned off when the meeting starts, but the host has their video turned on. Fairly simple. If you're doing a business meeting where everybody's going to be talking back and forth, you might have everybody's video turned on right at the start. That's your choice. One of the unique aspects of Zoom is it actually works with telephone system as well. So people could actually phone in to a 1-800 number to log into a conference if they don't have robust internet in their area. This might be something that some teachers want to consider, and you can configure that here, whether you want to have computer audio, both computer audio and telephone, or just telephone. Then you set up your meeting options where you can choose whether or not people are already in the room before the host joins, kind of in a waiting room, or kind of in the room itself, so you don't have to bring them in from a waiting room, or if you want them to be in a waiting room. And if that's the case, if you enable waiting rooms, be aware that the host has to monitor the waiting room and then admit people from the waiting room into the actual Zoom room. So that's something that you might not want to have. You might want people when they log in to be able to come directly into the meeting. That way you don't have to audit and keep your eye on the waiting room and have people sitting there waiting for the host to admit them. But that's an environment where you control who gets admitted to the meeting if you choose to by enabling the waiting room. And that is the main setup points that you have to create when you establish a meeting. Once you've done this, once you've created all of these different parameters, and oh, by the way, you can also add an alternate host where you can pass off to somebody else. If you're team teaching, if you have a presenter, you can make them the alternate host. But typically speaking, you're not going to require that. You're just going to be the sole host. You're going to launch it. And when you save it, then it becomes a meeting in your roster of meetings that we have here. So if we take a look, here's the summary. And I've got my, what do I call it, meeting number 1, and I've got all of the different assets that I require now to invite people to this meeting and to manage it from an administrative point of view. So let me show you this next screen. You can add these meetings to the different calendar types with a single click of the mouse here, but you also have down here this registration URL. This is really important. This is what you will email to your students or to your people that are going to participate in your meeting. So you click on this and watch what happens. It launches when the meeting is happening. In this case, we set it up as a recurring meeting. So it's happening these days, all at 3 p.m. And the person then enters their name, first name, last name, email address, and they confirm it. Say that they're not a robot. And then when they click to register, they will be sent a login link that's attached to their email address for the registration that they can use to attend all of these meetings. Very slick, very efficient. I really like the registration process. Down here in the bottom of the screen, you can also see how many people have registered and see exactly where you are in the process. You can also set up to email directly to your registrants what email address it's coming from, and you can set up some automated emails to remind them, etc., that the meeting is happening. So all of that functionality is here in the setup. Now, you'll notice down here in the left-hand column that we set up for meetings. Zoom also has a webinar tool, which has some slightly different options, but is effectively the same idea. Zoom also has the ability to record your meetings. Actually, I should show you that. I think I missed mentioning that. If we go back into the new meeting that we just created, there's the recurring meeting, number 1. I'm just going to go into this because I think I didn't. There it is. Down here, I didn't tell you to record the meeting, I didn't tell you that you can record the meeting. If I click here on edit this meeting, edit all of the recurring, all of them, and yes, that's what I was looking for. I can choose to record this meeting automatically. I'm glad I showed this to you because I think this is incredibly valuable, especially for teachers. So I can record it on my local computer, which will create a video file on my local computer, or I can record it into the cloud, which is recording it into Zoom's cloud services, which is going to be useful if you have a small amount of storage on your computer. But either way, you can then share the recording of these meetings with students or with participants that weren't able to attend, or they can review the content from the meeting or from the lesson by clicking on watching one of these replays. That was important. Should have mentioned that earlier. All right, back to the different types of meetings we have. So we have webinars. You can access all of your recordings from this dialog box here, and that's pretty much all you have to do to set up for your Zoom meeting. So once you've set up the parameters for the Zoom meeting, and I encourage you to do a couple of test little meetings just with your own internal circle, maybe with your husband or wife or with a coworker, so that you can get comfortable with the format. Then you're ready to test it out and get ready to do the real thing. So let's show you what happens in a real meeting next. So here is what's going to happen next. I'm going to do a Zoom call with Shannon. She's going to set up her computer downstairs. I'm going to send her an invitation link to join us in a Zoom room, and I'm going to walk her through it, and she will be a participant as a student. Really. Make yourself comfortable. I'm just recording here. You really don't respect the etiquette of the studio, do you? No. All right. Shannon's going to be downstairs. We're going to conference her in, and I'm going to help her discover the wonderful world of Zoom. So my wife is downstairs right now on her computer and connecting with this Zoom call, and I'm going to walk her through using Zoom. And there she is. Hi, Shan.
Hi, hon.
How are you doing?
I'm okay now that we're online.
Kind of know that, don't you? Because we were just talking 2 seconds ago. So Shannon is just down in our kitchen down below, and she has a little MacBook, and you're just using the webcam that's built into the MacBook, and you've plugged in a set of earbuds so that the audio is a little bit better there. So this is your first time in Zoom, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to walk you through some of the main features. Now, you see the little film strip on the top that has a picture of probably you in it right now. You see that?
Yeah.
So if you have multiple people in the room, you will see all of your students listed across here. And if any of them have their webcam turned on, you will be able to see them here in this film strip. And you actually have control over muting them or unmuting them. Although
I love that feature.
They can unmute themselves or turn on and off their own video as well. So they have some control. But it's important to recognize that when you have a lot of people on board, you have to teach them some etiquette, which is to have their microphones muted. Otherwise, you get a lot of crosstalk happening and you get a lot of noise. As well, it's really preferential to do exactly what you're doing, which is to have earbuds in when you're talking, because the microphone in the computers will pick up the audio from the speakers, and then you get that you'll get the echo and that sort of stuff happening if you're not careful. Now, I've got advanced sound gear up here, which we've invested heavily in, that mitigates that problem for us. But if you were to take out your earbuds down there, we might get some crosstalk from you down there as well, or echo from you. So that's a kind of a technique thing that you can work on.
So Stevie, if I have 27 kids, am I going to see them? It says gallery view. I'll see all of them. You
can switch, and you will see many more of them at that point. They'll be laid out, but you'll never get all 27 on the screen. You won't get that rogues gallery of all of them, but you'll be able to see most of them. And what Zoom does is anybody who starts to speak gets promoted onto the main screen, so you get to see them if you ask them to talk, unless you decide to pin your video as the main video. You see what I've got here is you won't be able to see it, but in the viewers will be able to see it. I can pin my video, so my video is always the one that's up, so they can only see me. So you can take over. So that gives you some control over the broadcast environment as you go along. Now, along the bottom of the screen, you'll see some tools, but I've got a lot of tools here, including the ones that I think are most important for teachers, which are screen sharing and a whiteboard tool down here. As well, I'm recording this. One of the very cool aspects of this entire process is if you give a lesson online to your students and say only half of them can make it because of whatever timing, you can record that lesson and then you can upload it to YouTube or some other online service so that they can get access to the lesson later and hear all the questions and see all the assignment. Or if they need to review, they can also watch it for review. So we've got some nice persistence there as a result of that as well. And I'm sure you'll want to critique your own performance as well, will you not?
Probably. Can I edit
Okay.
it?
Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how screen sharing works. Now, screen sharing is really flexible within Zoom. When I click on screen sharing, it brings up a dialog box that allows me to choose whether I want to share the screens that I'm looking at myself or any of the open screens that are on my screen, or indeed even other assets like a whiteboard, which I'll show.
Frank, you have a question?
Yeah. Okay. Where did you see that you just clicked on the, how did you open that window on the left now over Shannon's face?
Okay.
You said
right.
you clicked on.
Yeah, down here, if you can, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, where it's that green button, it says share.
I can.
Yeah, you'll click share screen, and then this is what you'll see, and you decide which screen you want to share. So this is like the one on the,
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Excellent. All right. And while we're there, you see, this is what I was talking about earlier, where it says share computer sound. So if you're going to share a video like I am right now, you want to make sure that box is checked. So I'm glad he showed that, so I could show that to you. Okay.
Show you in just a moment. But for example, if you had a video that you wanted to play, if you had a browser window open with that YouTube video in it, you could open that window and you could stream that video back out to your entire community. Or I've got a QuickTime Player open, or a player window open with one of the videos, which is, I know, one of your favorite videos, which I can share with you right now. Hi, I'm Steve Dotto, a YouTube creator. Now, I wasn't always a YouTube creator. I used to be the host of a TV show. So there we have, and by clicking down here in the bottom of the screen, I can stop screen sharing, and that brings us back. Oh, it's interesting. It left it left it up in the background there. There we go. Okay, I'll minimize that. So that gives you the ability to stream videos through, should you choose. But you could also have a slideshow prepared in Google Slides, which you could have in a browser window, or if you use Keynote or PowerPoint, you could be using those. And so you could be also broadcasting slides to your group as you're delivering your lesson. And that's the way a lot of business presenters certainly do things, is they prepare a slideshow. And then that, by broadcasting the slideshow to the group, it then eliminates the need for you to always be on camera, which a lot of people get a little bit self-conscious about. One of the challenges of this entire environment is you feel like you're always on camera, and a lot of people get a little bit of tunnel vision. You might even be experiencing that right now, being the guest.
Look at myself?
Yeah, well, you feel like you can't be natural. You can't like move around. You can't, and people will see it if you're looking, picking your nails or something like that. So that all of that stuff comes in. So it allows you to be off camera, which is a little bit more relaxing as you're doing things. Let me show you a couple of other aspects. One is, if you look down at the bottom of the window, you can open a chat window, which allows your community, your people to talk back and forth, and they can do private messaging by clicking on it. Or you can message each other. Sorry?
Like notes in class.
It's like passing on notes, except the teacher can see them all.
Oh, I get to see all of them. Okay.
Yeah, you can actually see them all, and but it does allow you to do things like drop URLs or drop links or put in pieces of text that might support.
That stays up as part of the video when I post it?
No, the only thing that will post when you post the video is the actual video window itself. None of the supporting content around is included in the recording that you do in Zoom.
So not even if I were to play a PowerPoint or...
Yeah, anything that you broadcast into the window would, so your PowerPoint would, but things like questions that go into the text wouldn't. So this is a great way for you to invite your students to say, if anybody's got a question, let me know in the chat, and then you can go in and you can enable their camera so that they can come on. If you indeed even want to bring them into the call, that's going to be an engagement question that different teachers at different age groups are going to deal with. Also, depending on the environment that the child is consuming it in. Remember, we're using computers right now, but Zoom works terrifically well at all mobile devices as well. So your students could be watching on the phone, they could be watching on an iPad, they could be watching on another tablet. There's a lot of different options for them to be able to consuming it. They don't have to always be on a computer. And so that means that they also don't always necessarily have to have access to a microphone and a camera. They can just watch it as a participant watching without even going on, being seen themselves or heard themselves. But you'll still see them reflected in the film strip in the top.
Okay.
Another thing I wanted to show you is, if we go back into screen sharing again, I like this, although I'm terrible at it. You've got the ability to have a whiteboard. And if I share a whiteboard, we've got then a board that you can type into.
Okay, you're not going to actually write on it, are you? I
am writing on it. Why? You afraid of me writing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to draw a picture for you.
Please don't.
There it is. I'm going to draw
a self-portrait?
A person. Oh, it's a self-portrait. I better give myself a beard then. Yeah, how's that?
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Can you do a little shock of hair at the top?
Oh, yeah, just there it is.
Yes.
So that's the basic interaction that you have with your students. You have the ability to have chat. You can share links. They can ask questions. You can bring people into the call or remove them from the call using the film strip. They can come on by audio or video. You have the ability to share anything that you can see on your computer screen. You can share with them. So you can prepare your lessons in advance in Google Slides or any other application. You can broadcast those through, and your audio will be continuing through at the same time. You can record the entire piece, and then you can archive it, you can upload it to YouTube, and you can share it in a variety of ways afterwards. That's really, yeah?
I see the advantages for if I was going to teach a lesson. Right now, my big concern is just interacting with my students so that they feel confident and connected to their community. Is this a good platform for that?
Sure. We use it every day just for conferencing for our team. I mean, you hear me talking to the team all the time as you go around the house, and we use it just as a meeting platform. So we're not actually delivering instruction or anything like that. It's just where we meet. It's our workspace that we meet in. And then even then, occasionally we want to share stuff back and forth, pictures or images or links. And we're able to do that really easily right from within here. So there are other options beyond Zoom. Zoom is going to facilitate classroom, these classroom type activities. But for just simple conversations, Zoom is, if you are using it already, it's a simple tool. But you could also at that point there consider using Skype or FaceTime or Google Hangouts. There's a couple of other different conferencing tools that you could use. So you get the FaceTime one-on-one with the student or a couple-on-one with the student. But the beauty of Zoom is it levels up and it allows you to have these different administrative functions for the classroom and for teaching.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Good stuff.
All right. So I hope you guys like that. I think he just did a much better job of teaching that than I would have. So it saved me some time. And one of Barbara's mantras is together we are better. So I just tag teamed with Steve Dotto from Dotto Tech. Okay. So one thing you can do after this call is you can just go to zoom.us and you can sign up for a free account. So I did a little sample one right before we got on the call. And so with a different email address than I normally would use. And this is one of the first things that you get. It'll, as soon as you sign up for the account, you will get a meeting. I think you have to get a confirmation email, but then you will get something called your personal meeting URL. And then that you could meet right away without doing anything else. But if you want to go in and set up all the parameters like he did, then you would click to go to my account. And let me click there and hopefully it won't try to log me out of my other one. Oh yeah, it actually logged me into my other one. So you can see we have lots of different meetings in here. So I'm not gonna go into that. But even if you didn't need to have a specific, lots of different meetings, this link right here is ready to go. So I would encourage you to do that. And then do what he did. Send it to your spouse, your partner, or your kid. You got teenagers home or college students home, which a lot of people do, then you can practice with each other and just try it out. So I do recommend that you do some practicing. But it's fairly simple to use. There's a lot of other little things you can tweak with it, but just the basics of just getting it up and running. Now, he covered a lot of the technical of how to. One of the things I want to talk about is also the other things you want to be thinking about when you do is your background. So you guys are all on here now and you see yourselves and you see all of our backgrounds. So this is one we did on Friday. So you can see, this is my background here. This is Kathy with her little office back there. She's one of our consultants. Here's Barbara. She's got the map of the world behind her. Jeannie's downstairs. So you can see all the various backgrounds. So that's something you might want to pay attention to. Just know that see what your students are going to see. So your students or your business colleagues or whatever you're doing. Demetrius is on here and he actually did look, he left his seat. I see I just see his poster or his picture, but there he is. His hand is waving. Okay. You guys might not see that right now, but anyway, he just did it he's a trainer and coach. So you can do this for fitness training and coaching and Bible study, family meetings, in fact, I just had a friend who was going to have a birthday party for her husband, a surprise party that got canceled in April. And so I said, don't cancel it. Let's do it virtually. And this is actually a virtual party that we did with our team of consultants here. It was a New Year's Eve party / Barbara's birthday party. And so you can see our pictures here where, I had mailed everybody party favors. And then we had little things like this here. We had the party favors, everybody got to wave. So you can have fun with it, but just be aware of what people are going to see in your background. Okay. So that is Zoom. And I am now going to pivot over. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, Alyssa?
I had a question. So what I just learned in this video is that if I'm writing a private comment to someone else, the host can see all private comments?
Well, that I did not know either until he said that. So I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay.
I see if somebody sends me a private message as the host, I can see that. So why don't you, okay, let's test it.
Well, I have already sent private messages to my friends on the call. I'm friends with Stephanie and Sharon.
Okay.
Can you see?
I do not see them. So I just see the ones I see are to everyone. So
I just sent one to Barbara. Do you see that?
And just sent one to Barbara. No, I do not. And then okay. Jeannie says, I had a private chat with Steve. Do you see it? No, I do not. So
no, I can talk about you.
Yeah, you can talk about me and I won't see it. You just want to confirm that, right, Ann?
Before you jump, because I'm going to have to jump off,
Yeah.
I also wanted to add, when you have like your dog picture up here, like I thought was great. But some people just have their names. Here's a way that you can have a photo of yourself. So people are still seeing your face instead of just your name, even if you don't want to be on camera.
Yes, that's true. And so that you would wait, you muted out. I didn't hear that part. Say that again, Alyssa.
I said that's the photographer in me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. And do you know, so you would change that in the settings, right? You would upload, where would you put your picture?
I'll show you. In your settings, you can put a picture. So if I stop my video, see my picture.
Yeah. Now, as participants, can they do that?
I'm a participant right now. So.
Yeah, you are a participant. And so where did that picture come from? How would you tell someone to upload that picture?
I think it must have been in my settings. It must have been like add profile picture.
Right, when you first signed in.
Yeah, but I just, recently changed it. So I just think instead of seeing a name, even if you're just still seeing a face, it feels like you're all
that's
together.
True. Yeah, that's a very good point. Excellent. Okay, good. Yeah, because I know when I turn mine off, you can see it too, and that's why you only have to look good one time. You can take that picture, and then you can just you can always just show that picture. That's a very good point. So, anybody else? Any other questions before we pivot over to Google Classroom? And I'm just going to take a couple minutes to get you started. Shayna, unmute. Okay. Oh, try it again. Yes.
Okay. So, and I think some other folks asked the same question. As an instructor, I don't necessarily want them to be able to have private chats without me knowing. Is there a way to disable that?
There is. Yes, there is. You can choose that in the settings of whether you want them to. In fact, let me just click schedule a meeting real quick. I'll go through there and I'll show you where that is. For the meeting. There's some, you know what? That's such a good question. It is actually in the main settings of your Zoom account. So not within each meeting. So you go into the Zoom in the main settings here, and that is where there's a lot of other settings in here that you get to choose. So I saw it in here last night. So it's actually, if I can't find it right this second, it is definitely here. There's you can choose whether to whiteboard or not. Breakout rooms. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but make sure when you do sign up that you come over here to settings and you'll see other that you could toggle on and off. That's a really good question because you don't want that on necessarily.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Any other questions? And I am going to make this whole video available to you, as well as I'll send you the link to that Dotto Tech one that you just watched too, so you can watch that again. And he's got a lot of good content, so you can check out his other things as well. So I'm just going to take the next few minutes just to get you into Google Classroom and show you. And then, Teresa said you can use virtual background. You can allow them to replace their background with a selected image. In Zoom desktop application settings. Yeah, so definitely check out the settings. The other thing before I get out of Zoom is make sure you go here to the attend live training, video tutorials, and knowledge base. They have a lot of great resources there. So, and make sure you're looking at it from the host standpoint. You wanna get information about hosting. And then the plans and pricing real quick is sign up for free. To start with, it's plenty. Some of you may never need to pay for anything. But then the pro version is still very inexpensive, $15 a month. So you can check that out. So it's definitely doable, and you're not locked into anything. When this lockdown is over, you don't need Zoom anymore, you can cancel. So it doesn't, it's not anything bad. So I'm going to go over to Google Classroom now. And if you do not have a Google account, you're going to want to do that first after we get off of here. So just go to google.com and sign up. If you don't have Gmail, you're going to need a Google account in order to use Google Classroom. Once you get into classroom.google.com, then all you do at the top here is there's a little plus sign, and this is where you would create class. That's all you do is just click create class. And it said, now here, for those of you that are teachers and educators, you're going to want to read this part about using Classroom at a school with students. So make sure you read that when you come in. I'm not going to stop there, so for the sake of time, but make sure you read that to see if it applies to you. And then click continue. And then we're going to call this class name. You just name it very simply. I'm just going to do how to go virtual again. Virtual. I'm going to call it how to go virtual classroom. So those of you, if you do have to jump off, I am going to make sure that everybody that registered for this gets this replay and gets into this classroom as well. So if you do have to go, we understand, because you're probably having to jump on another meeting at the top of the hour. So it's creating the classroom. So now here it is, very simple. The classroom is created, and there's, if you look at the tabs at the top, you have stream, classwork, people, and grades. And for right now, I'm going to just go to classwork, and I'm going to, this is where you assign work to your class here. I'm going to click create. And the first thing I'm going to do is create one for material. So I'm going to call it, I'm actually going to call it material. And then I'm going to click post. And then I'm going to create one for assignments. Assignments. Okay. All right. So I am going to, and then you can actually move it. So I can click and drag if I want material above assignments. Well, I should have been able to, maybe not. Okay. So under material, I'm going to add that video. So I'm going to go into material, and I'm going to click edit. And now I'm going to add that Steve Dotto video that we just, oh wait, actually, this is the one with the girl in the bathroom. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that because it's the first thing that came up. So just for fun. Let me get back over to my classwork. So then you would click, say you want to do, you do want to share a video. So then you would click add YouTube. And then you just pop in the YouTube link. And there it comes up, and then you click add. So any other, and you can keep going. So if you want to add, let's see, here's this one. I'm going to add this for you guys. I'm just going to grab that YouTube link, and I'm just going to click add YouTube URL there. So you can build your whole curriculum with videos if you have YouTube videos. And like even for this particular class, like I'm going to click add YouTube, and I'm just going to how to host Zoom. So if there's other videos that you guys might find useful, it's going to search. And here's this first one right here, how to host a classroom meeting with Zoom. So that's somebody else. I'm just going to click that video and click add. So you can build your curriculum with YouTube videos if that's what you want to do. You can also, let me just save that. And so now this is what it looks like. Assignments and material. So there's material. So under assignments, I might say edit. And I might say, I might want to upload a worksheet for them to do. So then you would click, maybe it's in Google Drive. So you click Google Drive, and it pulls up different things. So I'm just going to use, actually, Zoom meeting. Here we go. I'm going to upload this Zoom meeting online events best practices. So that's a PDF that is now in here. So I might say, read this PDF and write whatever. So there's that. Let's see. Then somebody says, okay, how or when do you add their email addresses to the classroom student? Okay, good idea. Good question. So that's how easy it is to add the content. So come in here, play around. If you mess it up, you can. It's so easy to delete. You can click delete, and it goes away. But as far as adding students, then you come over to people. And this, if you want to add another teacher, you can add that here. So I'm going to add Barbara as a fellow teacher with me. And Barbara is now going to get an invitation to come in, and she will have teacher access. So she can actually upload content. So if you've got an assistant or a co-teacher or co-presenter, you can add them there. And then to add a student, and this is what I'm actually going to add you guys after this, so you'll be able to get in here. So I'm going to add Jeannie, and then I can add Kathy. There we go. Invite. So now they're going to get emails. That's how they get in. Can't invite student from this domain. I don't know why it says that. Interesting, Kathy. newpathpro.com. Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't invite Kathy. That's kind of strange. I've never seen that before, but let me invite Jeannie. Okay. So, and then you should be able to keep going and adding. Now, what's neat about this is that when you make assignments, you can choose who gets to view it. So let's say you've got 10 students and only 5 of them you want to see certain things. So yeah, a lot of you are jumping off. Totally, that's fine. So if you just want them to see a certain, so that actually opens up the video there. Let me get out of there.
Well, hey guys, it's Andrew Bro, and in this video,
let me get back to where I was. So let's say under classwork, material, edit, over here on the right, it lets me choose who gets to see it. So I don't have any students in here yet, but if I did have students, I could check the ones I want to be able to view the content and uncheck the ones I don't want to be able to view the content, which is kind of neat. So you can add topics for the material. I'm actually going, I don't want to keep you guys, so I'm going to actually post in here. I'm going to create in this virtual classroom, I'm going to post some short videos, tutorials for you on how to build your content in the Google Classroom. Okay, can a student see all the other students in the classroom? That's a good question, Michelle. I believe they can. I will check on that, but I believe they can, because in the stream they can all communicate with each other. So I can say, hi everyone, see you here on Friday or whatever, and then everybody can see that, and then you guys, the other students, would be able to add a comment. So that's what the stream is. Think of that as your Facebook wall of your class. Would be, or or at work it's your water cooler, it's the teacher's lounge. Well, no, it's not the teacher's lounge, it's where the students gather, so everybody can see here. And you can choose whether students can post here or just you as the instructor posts here. You can choose that in your setup. But anyway, so what students see the stream, they see classwork, and they see people. So yeah, they can see the list, but they don't see grades. So you as the teacher will be able in your settings to set up how the grading works as well. The other thing I really like about Google Classroom is it comes automatically with a Google Calendar that's specifically for this classroom. So you can click that, and this is probably going to show all my calendars. Let's see if it does. Calendar already exists. Okay, so it's only showing, yeah, it's only showing this one. So you can actually put things on the calendar that only that class can see. And then you can also, I'm going to move Zoom out of the way so I can get back to the class. It also has a class drive folder. It automatically creates in Google Drive, it automatically creates a folder for this class. So you can open that up and you can put information in there so that they can access files in the classroom folder, if that makes sense. So it's honestly, there's definitely some things to learn, and I'm going to share some videos with you on how to do it, but it's pretty simple once you get in. And if, like I said, if you mess up, you can just delete it, fix it. I haven't even played around with the quiz assignments and the questions and stuff, but I just use material. I post what I want to say, whatever it is. I might say Steve Dotto video, and then you can add a description if you want, and then you just add whether it's a file, a link, or a YouTube video here. One thing I do recommend, and then we'll wrap up for now. We may do some more of this because I know a lot of people are asking that I've gotten emails from as well that couldn't be on here, so they'll get the replay. But if we need to go any deeper into like Google Classroom, for example, we can do this again. But one of the things I do like or do recommend is that you create your content in a form that you can keep whether you use Google Classroom or not. So I recommend that you create it in Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Slides like I just did. Okay, Teresa. Then that way you can use it in any platform. So if you need to get up and running quickly, Google Classroom is awesome and easy to do. But let's say, 3 months from now, you decide you want to use Teachable, which is another platform, but it does cost money. It's a great platform. There's one called Thinkific. There's another option. Say you want to move all your stuff over there, then that way you've got all your content on your computer or in your Google Drive that you can use anywhere. And you just copy and paste or upload into whatever virtual and whatever, learning management system you're using. Okay, can class time be tracked through this platform? Can this be integrated with Moodle LMS? I'm not sure. I do believe the class time can be tracked and you can see where the student is in the process. You can see where they are in the class. So I will post a video in here for you about that, and I will check with I'll check in on Moodle and see if that's possible. It's a good question. Okay. But again, if you are using another LMS, if you have your content created in Google Drive or wherever, then you can always upload it in whatever platform you want to use. And I don't think Google Classroom is going anywhere, but let's say you decided you wanted to use Teachable and then they shut down or they had a major glitch or something happened and you lost all your content. If you created all of the content in that platform and then it just disappeared, you would be in trouble. So that's why I always say have it created outside, then you can actually put it in any platform that you decide to use. So yeah, I wish I had more time to go more into Google Classroom with you guys, but I will do, I do want to do another one of these where I want to create the actual class with you. So stay tuned for that. I'll do another one and we'll go into a little bit more of the details on Google Classroom. But my point, let me just say this, and then I'll take questions if you guys have any. I see Teresa does. So when we just did that class, I would want to upload this call that we're on now. I would upload this replay into YouTube. And we have a YouTube channel, and I would make it an unlisted video in YouTube. And I'll post videos for you guys on how to do that too. That way you can easily grab that YouTube link and post it into the classroom. So Zoom is great for the live meetings, but getting them to watch, having one place for the replays to be found is what you want the learning management system for. You want to make it an easy place that they can find it. So yeah, okay, great. So some of you are jumping off. Thank you so much for joining in. If you do have some more questions, I don't have to run off just yet, so feel free. Teresa, if you want to come on and ask me, you can. Let me hit stop share until, okay. So you guys, yeah, come off mute. Yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
When we originally started using Zoom at CCC, I was one of the 10 people that we had licenses for. And as an administrative assistant, we were told that we would be the person that everybody would come to in our department to set up the meetings. And I've run into some issues or possible issues in trying to set them up. One being that I don't want to have to be the person on every single meeting that I'm setting up for somebody. And so if I set the meeting up for someone, I've tried to add them as an alternate host, and that hasn't allowed me to do that. So if I start the meeting with them, can I then assign them as an alternate host and leave the meeting?
You can. I think he was actually wrong about that part in his demo, where the alternate post in the settings that he showed, that is like another paid or licensed account in your
Right.
license. Yeah, but what you're wanting to do, let me see if I can grab a screenshot. I'm looking at the list of participants, and I am going to grab a screenshot of what I see right now. Okay, so I just did a quick screenshot. I am going to post that for you in the chat. So that actually, I only have to post it in the chat. I can pull it up for you. Hang on one sec. Okay, so let me open the image. I'm going to click share. Okay, so I'm sharing the image. So you see there where it says I clicked on your name and I clicked more, and I can click make host or make co-host.
Okay.
So that's what you would want to do.
And that's once you start the meeting, you can do that.
Yeah, you can. And then what you want to do, I think you can just make sure you don't end the meeting. You can leave the meeting and it'll still go. The co-host can take over. But just make sure you don't click end meeting, because then it'll end it for everybody.
Right, right. And as far as recordings, I've also had the issue with recording as well, that at the end of the first meeting that I did as a test, I was not able to leave the meeting because it was recording. So I'm hoping that the co-host will be able to continue that, but I don't know that that's going to happen.
They can. In fact, let me make you co-host right now. So I'm clicking and it says, do you want to make Teresa Biggers the co-host of this meeting? I'm going to say, okay. And so now you should get something that says I made you co-host. All right. And now down at the bottom, or some, it doesn't even have to be at the bottom. Do you see something that says record? You should be able to record. Okay. Did you see that before I made you co-host?
No, it just popped up.
Okay. Okay, great. So that means that you, as long as your co-host clicks record, then you can go.
Okay.
Still test it.
Okay. Yeah.
Before you do a real one.
Yeah. And my third question is, because I'm setting up meetings for other people, it just so happens that tomorrow I have 2 meetings going on at the same time. Is that going to be a problem for me as well?
Well, that is the question. It depends. Is it your account or you're the admin of the?
Right now, I'm the person that set up both meetings for other people, but it's my account.
It's your account. Yeah. You, as far as I know, you cannot run concurrent meetings.
So could I start one, make one person the co-host, and then no?
Which account do you have, Level? Do you have the pro, or how much are you paying? Or are you doing the free one?
Well, it's through the college, and we have 10 licenses.
See, I'm not sure how that works, but what I would do, I'm not sure how it works with the licenses, but I do know, here, hang on one second. I'm going to go back real quick.
Do you have access to more than one computer?
No.
If she had access to more than one computer, would it let her, like, it doesn't matter?
It's about the account. It's about it's not about the computer. It's about the account.
Gotcha.
Whether, because it'll tell you.
Even though each meeting has separate meeting numbers.
Yeah, it would need to have its own complete separate account. Now you can set. Now here's what you'll want to do. Here's what a workaround you can do is to set up another account. I know. And you remember we were on that productivity summit that Ray Sidney Smith did. Did you participate in that?
I was on that one.
Okay. Well, he had, we had 4 tracks going at the same time, and he actually had 4 separate Zoom accounts, completely separate accounts. And that's what needed to have happen so that he could have multiple meetings at the same time. So that's your workaround, is just create a separate account.
Yeah, and especially now that they're doing like the free.
Yeah, now's a good time to do that. So what I just did, in fact, that was such a good question because, and I didn't realize that until this week, because Jeannie and I are setting up, meetings and appointments. It just so happens that we haven't overlapped yet. But I went in and found out that you cannot. So if participants attempt to join a meeting that the host hasn't started, they will receive the message the host has another meeting in progress. So from all the stuff that I read, basically, you won't. They will get a notice that says they can't join. So yeah, just set up a separate meeting or a completely separate account.
Okay.
Good question.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. But those were all 3 really, really good questions. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody
I
else?
have the record button on my screen. Like she said she didn't have it before she was the co-host, but I do. But what would I just be recording this for myself? Like anybody can record this meeting?
I think, does anybody else see the record button? You all do? Everybody sees it? Yeah, then you would be able to record. So there's probably a setting that I didn't click or that says allow recording. So it's probably a main setting in the main account that gives you the opportunity to record if you want to.
Okay.
So, but I think you can make that not happen. Like if you don't want it recorded, you can make it, there's a setting. We'll have to look and find the setting for that. But yeah, I think you can make it so people cannot record it if you don't want them to. Yeah. Oh, Kathy says, if we push that button, it tells us to get permission from the host. Okay. Thank you, Kathy, for pushing the button. Okay, good. So try it and see if that happens. Did you guys do that? Let me see what happens on my end. I'm not seeing. So ask me, go ahead and say yes and ask permission.
When I give you the option, it just clicks on okay. Like we have to like physically ask you, I think.
Oh, you physically have to ask me, and then that would make me making you a co-host then. Oh, I see. It says, you know how I showed you the screenshot of me making Teresa a co-host? One of the other options is allow record. Yeah. So I can click allow record.
When I did it, it said, do you want to stop cloud recording?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I made you a co-host. Yeah. And I have it, so I have my settings set to actually record to the cloud. So your settings probably follow my settings. So that's good to know. See, good questions. All right. Anybody else? What I can tell you too is Zoom help is really good. Let me click on share again, and I've got Zoom pulled up here. Their little help button is down here at the bottom right. And you can click live chat, and I've used it multiple times. And now, of course, depending on where, I assume a lot of the Zoom people are working at home, but you can. I've always had really good help. They reply right away, and they solve my problems or questions or anything. So definitely use that. If you have questions that you think I might be able to answer that aren't necessarily technical. Because I think you can get the technical help from Zoom directly, but if there's kind of other kind of content related or best practices are actually presenting that you think I can help you with, I'm happy to. You can message me, email me. In fact, with that said, let me show you real quick. On our website, productiveenvironment.com, which is on all those slides, down at the bottom it says contact. That actually comes directly to me. So if you just forget everything else and you need to contact me and ask me a question, you can just use that button, and that email, you'll be able to enter a message and it comes directly to me. So feel free to do that if I can help you with anything. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, so my plan then between today and tomorrow is to add some more helpful content to that Google Classroom. And then I will be inviting you all in so you can access it. You can see how I've set it up. You can watch some of the helpful videos and anything else that I think will be helpful to you in using Zoom or building your classroom. I'm happy to help you with that. So you guys are welcome. I'm getting messages. Thank you. And the other thing, just think outside the box of how you can use Zoom. I mean, you can use it, like I said, by yourself and just record video. You can do a two-way, you can be side by side. One thing he said that I do want to point out, in the top, you guys probably see, who sees the words gallery view or speaker view? Do you see that at the top right? I like looking at it in gallery view. So if you click the button, so it shows it in gallery view, I like that because I can see everybody at the same time, all on the screen. Do you see what I mean? Can you guys see that? Speaker view just shows me or shows whoever's speaking. It pulls them up on the screen. I like gallery view. It just makes it feel more connected, like we're all here together. So yeah, like I was saying, think outside the box. One person, two people, three people. More. You could do a family meeting. You can do a church meeting. You can. There's so many things you can do with Zoom. And it's so inexpensive. It's free and inexpensive. So absolutely try it out.
I have a happy hour scheduled later today. With
You have a happy, now how are you doing that, Ann? Tell us. That
I'm
sounds
here.
fun.
We're having like a cocktail hour.
And you're all going to have your drinks, right?
Yeah,
Right?
like
Yeah.
we're like, we can't get together. We're just going to do it here.
I think that's awesome. And you guys see Ann's background. Ann is one of our certified productive environment specialists. She has a background in engineering. She's very systems oriented and structured. She has this awesome, cool background. So as you start, doing more of these, and you want a specific look for your background, and that's what's cool too, is that you only need this much space to look good. You can have clutter over here and over here. As long as in your view, it looks good if you don't change your background. We had someone on a call yesterday. Her background was she was decluttering. She didn't want us to see her office, and her background was the San Francisco Bridge. So she did a green screen kind of background, which is one of the options in the settings. So you can play around with that. Lighting is important too. Like you can see, I've got pretty good light. I've got natural light is the best coming in from outside. So that's why my desk is facing the window. So, kind of pay attention to your lighting, especially if you're teaching or presenting. That's something that you want to look at. And also the things that are around you. Like sometimes I forget, and then I might have something piled up over here. So I always want to make sure I do a quick view before I go live.
Yeah, I had my office arranged differently, and I had like big white cabinet behind me, and like I'm in the same light, but my lighting was like Teresa's it was really dark, even though I had the same lights because of the white background, which I had no idea that was the reason for it. So if you have trouble with lighting, check with like what color you have behind you.
So it might be so when you had the white background,
I was so dark, it was so dark, and I literally have the same one overhead light right now.
That's interesting. So it was adjusting.
Yeah, it was doing something like flashing off.
I like that. All right, Mom, what were you gonna say?
I just want to comment. Sherelle's background is color coordinated with what she's wearing.
It is. I know. I love that. I love that pink. It looks awesome. And I have this little thing. I got this at Kohl's, and you can't see it because it's light in here, but these are like little lights. So when I go on, I turn them on. So I'm like I'm on air. I just think it's cute. So have fun with it. And also I always have like a hot tea with me, and they say with the coronavirus that one good thing we can do is be drinking hot beverages, keep your throat and everything warm and moisturized. So I always have hot tea, and so I always try to use a different, have a little mug. I had one earlier. I changed it out. I ran downstairs and got this. This is the Grove Park Inn, because the one I had, I got free at the ABC store, and it said rum chata on it. So I was like, I better not use that one. So I switched out my mug. But anyway, you can have fun with your background and what you do with it. But anyway, just don't. And if you want to practice with anybody, like practice with a partner or a friend or a colleague, or if you can't find anybody to practice with, just send me a message and say, hey, can we jump on Zoom and do a quick practice? I'm happy to do that with you guys. Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. All right. My best advice is to just do it. Anne, you have a question, or she said bye? It's just to do it. Don't be afraid to try it. You can't break it. You cannot break it. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. Bye, Mom. Thanks for inviting everybody.
Bye, Trisha. Bye, Sherelle.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Andrea.
Sure thing. Bye-bye.